apparently Bill Clinton likes him young. That's what the big takeaway, the big headline from the Epstein names. The files have come out now, and we were all wondering yesterday, where are these names? Where's all of the files and all of the names of the powerful men? And so they finally dropped, I guess it was last night. I don't know if it was yesterday afternoon, if Brian had it, or if they finally dropped overnight, last evening, whatever. But the big headline everywhere you go, and I'm looking at Fox News and, some of the other organizations. And yeah, the big takeaway is Bill Clinton is the key person to the Epstein probe. And the big quote regarding Bill Clinton is that he likes his girls young. He's not accused of doing anything wrong. And one of the things I thought was interesting yesterday is I was going through all of the very, very rich and powerful Democrats that, have not necessarily been accused of anything wrongdoing per se. Maybe you could say that it was guilt by association. I'm trying to be very careful. And I'm trying to be fair. Because just because you were associated with Jeffrey Epstein, and just because, you may have taken some rides on his plane or took some meetings, doesn't mean that you were sleeping with underage girls. And there was a couple of people on the super text line that actually said, well, we didn't think that Mandis would be out there defending Democrats. I'm not defending anybody. I'm trying to be fair. Because I'm not about to accuse somebody of anything like sleeping with underage girls just because there is a guilt by association. I will tell you that Bill Clinton, they say, is a key person to the Epstein probe because of that close relationship with both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And yeah, the Clinton liked them young. I can't do it nearly as good as Johnny B. Maybe Johnny B will give us his Bill Clinton impersonation during the Gang of Three Amigos. Now, again, Virginia Roberts does not say that Bill Clinton did anything wrong. Ghislaine Maxwell paints a very different story. By the way, Al Gore and Tipper Gore also listed amongst those Epstein associates, and again, not accused of doing anything wrong. Except with Al Gore, except being incredibly wrong about the environment, and no, he did not invent the internet. Moving on from there. The brother of Jeffrey Epstein said that he had dirt. This came out yesterday. The brother of Jeffrey Epstein said that he did have dirt on both candidates running for president in 2016. So that is, of course, both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And one of the things that Epstein said is that if I told people what I know about these two, they would have to cancel the election. But again, this is all hearsay. And yeah, Donald Trump was, listed 4 times in these documents. But again, nobody is saying that Trump did anything wrong. From the Daily Mail, neither Clinton nor Trump were accused of having sex with any of Epstein's victims. Virginia Roberts, though, claims that she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew. Alan Dershowitz, by the way. You want some uncomfortable reading, read about Alan Dershowitz. I've got audio from him because he is saying that he was misidentified. They say the pedophile financier made at least 17 visits to the White House, presidential logs show, and Bill Clinton also flew on Epstein's private jet, making trips to Europe, Asia, and Africa in 2002 and 2003. They say there is no evidence, and I read this in like 3 or 4 different websites. There is no evidence that Clinton ever visited Epstein's Caribbean island, Little St. James. No, I don't know if Bill Clinton, partook in anything, and neither do you. There's all kinds of stuff that is out there. Ghislaine Maxwell, again, paints a different picture. But you do have some of the women, some of the girls at the time, now women, who say that Clinton didn't really do anything wrong. And as I said yesterday, here's the thing. These women have not been shy about relating their experiences, let's just say. So if Clinton did do something wrong, if Bill Clinton did do something wrong, then it wouldn't surprise me if they had something to say about it. But, Ghislaine Maxwell says, well, she's intimating that Clinton did do things that were wrong. Well, then what exactly is it? And let's face it, Ghislaine Maxwell is probably pissed off because she's in jail. Other names included in all of this would be Stephen Hawking, David Copperfield, the magician, and yes, Alan Dershowitz as well. Again, Dershowitz is specifically named as someone who had legal, or I should say, sexual relations with the girls. He also continued his legal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein as well, even after Dershowitz found out about his proclivities. And that's part of the conversation this morning regarding Alan Dershowitz is he is, yes, again, accused of having sexual relations with these underage girls. Then, once he supposedly found out about all of this stuff, this is what Dershowitz says. He says he was misidentified. He says that once he found out about Jeffrey Epstein and his proclivities, that he ended a personal relationship with him, yet he continued to represent him legally. The documents also say the girls were forced to have sex with Alan Dershowitz, the former Harvard law professor. They also claim that he witnessed others doing the same thing and that he took part in the legal process, helping himself and others get immunity from federal prosecution. So Dershowitz was on with Sean Hannity last night, and he defended himself.
Well, first of all, the woman who accused me has now stated categorically that she may have misidentified me, confused me with someone else. And these documents, if all the documents are revealed, will prove categorically that she did misidentify me, that I never met her, never heard of her, never spoke to her. And I can prove it by independent means. I have all my travel records. I have all my television appearances. I can prove that I couldn't possibly have been anywhere near any of the people who were involved in this. I was Epstein's lawyer. Of course I flew on his plane.
So there you go. That's part of what Dershowitz is saying, as he does contend that he was misidentified, and also his reasoning for continuing to represent Epstein. So believe what you want. He does say again that he ended that personal relationship, but the legal relationship did continue. Here's part of that.
Well, as soon as Epstein was shown to be what he was, I ended my personal association with him completely, but I maintained a legal relationship with him. I represented some of the worst people in the world and continue to do so. That's my life. And of course I represented him.
So there you go. So now we have the names, we have the accusations. A guy named, by the way, there's a new name here that was named billionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin. Was named by Ghislaine Maxwell, and the accusation is that he did have sex with the underage girls. And if you don't know who Jeffrey Dubin is, I should say Glenn Dubin, he is a billionaire hedge fund manager, and he's one of those folks that is given to a long list of Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, Hillary Clinton twice, and a whole lot more. So another Democrat, Glenn Dubin, on the Jeffrey Epstein list, and he is again accused of actually having sex with these girls. And again, here we are, another big-time Democrat donor on this very seedy list. So one of the things, I might as well just get right to the whole Trump thing, because that's what everybody wants to know. And I did mention this in the beginning of the previous monologue about the situation with the names regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Who did who did what, who's accused of, just simply guilt by association. And a lot of the people on the left are saying, aha, Donald Trump was on his plane 4 times or whatever it was, or there's meetings 4 times. And so this is from Vanity Fair. Might as well go to the epicenter of Trump derangement syndrome, which would be Vanity Fair. This is all that they could come up with regarding Donald Trump. Trump has previously spoken of his affection for Epstein, telling New York in 2002, I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. According to the New York Times, a decade prior, Trump directed Florida businessman George Hornaday to organize a calendar girl competition at Mar-a-Lago. And after 28 female contestants were secured, revealed that the other guests were just he and Epstein. So Trump tells this George Hornaday to organize a calendar girl competition. The only two people that are there are Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, according to the New York Times. Video footage from that same year shows the two men partying together at the Palm Beach Resort with cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. They say the friendly relationship continued for more than 10 years. And after that, with the two men reportedly dining at Epstein's mansion and attending many of the same dinner parties, according to Epstein's brother, Mark. Trump would comp Epstein's mother and aunt at one of his Atlantic City casino hotels and flew on Epstein's private jet numerous times. You know what? Here's the deal. Anybody catching anything illicit here? All right, so, there was a little soiree with a whole bunch of beautiful women. I'm not hearing any kind of, any kind of things that were illegal. I'm not hearing of anything where Donald Trump is accused of having sex with underage girls. And again, I went right to the heart, the epicenter of Trump derangement syndrome, and that is Vanity Fair. And they're not saying that Donald Trump they're not even intimating that Trump had any kind of relationship with an underage girl. And as far as, Trump saying that he's known Jeff for 15 years, he's a terrific guy. Well, I'd be willing to get that most people have had relationships with people and said good things about those people. And then there was a falling out. More details become available. Disagreements happen. And then those relationships end. But those quotes live on forever. Big deal.
Well, it's kind of like the actress that called Harvey Weinstein God.
Yes.
In an acceptance speech, Meryl Streep.
That's exactly right. There were a lot of actresses that said very good things about Harvey Weinstein. And then more details become available. Listen, how many people have told their exes that they love them and said wonderful thing about their exes and then, you end up breaking up, right? I mean, so I'm not going to fault Donald Trump for saying nice things about Jeffrey Epstein when he didn't know the full scope of his creepidity. Is that a word, Johnny? Creepidity? Can we make it a word? It is now? Okay, good. Later, they had a talking about Trump and Epstein. Apparently, one person who observed both men telling the Washington Post they were tight and that they were each other's wingmen. What does that mean? A wingman? Like if two men are single, which, by the way, at the time, both of these guys were single. Trump and Epstein, I believe, were single. I'm not sure what wingmen means, except that they kind of help each other out and getting women. Is that what it is? All right. Later, they reportedly had a falling out over a real estate deal. In 2019, Trump told reporters from the Oval Office they had not spoken to Epstein in about 15 years, adding, I am not a fan of his, that I can tell you. But again, and I will say it for the last time, still not seeing anything illegal or illicit regarding Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, just a couple of single rich guys hanging out, chasing girls. As far as I know, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a guy in his 40s or 50s, going after younger women. It is what it is. And by the way, a lot of younger men, what do they call it? Cougar chasing, right? Younger men going after older women. It's something that just happens in society. Now, Alan Dershowitz and Epstein and some of these other folks who are actually named in having sexual relations with these women. Now the big question is, underage women, now the big question is, what happens to an Alan Dershowitz or, some of these other, billionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, who was accused in the paperwork here of having sex with some of these underage girls. What happens to them now? Do legal proceedings, are they now going to be charged with, having sex with minors or whatever it might be? I don't know what happens after this.